You're watching National Streaming Sports, over 20 podcasts, 70 shows, and a 3.5-star rating on Roku TV.
Yeah, I cut
Hello,
it short.
everybody.
How you doing? How you doing? I wanted to get to Peggy, and so I cut it short because I don't want to have the limited time that we have with Miss Peggy for like an hour, And I love the song, I love the intro, but
I love your intro.
Well, I gotta give due to the Fast Eddie Rice, who's the guitarist in that, and so it's his stuff. It's not a YouTube strike because it was his stuff, and he said I can use it, which is awesome. Because then I would have like really crap, intro music. But so I have great intro music for a great product and a great lady, Miss Peggy Holmes, who's gonna just.
I know. And Captain, everyone wants to get right away started talking about the decisive move that Telesco and Pierce made after screwing up in February, and we've talked about this, and deciding that GETSY had to go now.
Well, that now was like about 3, 4, 5 weeks too late.
Well, we all felt that.
Yeah.
But I mean, from a football continuity, because one of the Raiders' major problems has been, the revolving door of coaches, coordinators, etc. But I mean, did you think it was going to happen when it happened?
Yeah, actually, I did. I honestly thought that, and especially because I was talking with Ed Winchell about it, he told me like the week prior, he said that AP stated that the play calling duties were going to be Luke Getsy's until further notice. And see, that was the key words, until further notice. Because I know as a military guy, UFN means watch your ass. And it was coming right up onto the bye week. So I said, this is it's kind of like when you get a vote of confidence, as a head coach from either your owners, or if you're in college, you get a vote of confidence from your alumni committee or whatnot. The vote of confidence is kind of that last little watch your ass and see what you can do. And when AP said, until further notice on Luke GETSY, I said, that's just his way of saying, if they stink it up, guess what? He will be gone in the bye week. And it did occur. The offense stunk it up against Cincinnati, and he was gone.
I don't know how Pierce. How could he have thought anything different was going to happen? I mean, again, and I know this is something I keep saying repeatedly. I'm glad that Pierce stepped up and said, I made a mistake. Okay? And that's fine and dandy, but it makes me wonder about the kind of advice, the brain trust that he has, the knowledge that that OC position was the most important position to fill in the offseason. Who did not know the destruction that McDaniels, and when we think about it, we go through the players that just were just thrown out like garbage by McDaniels. I mean, he deconstructed the same O-line that had blocked for Jacobs and got him 1,600 yards. I don't see how Pierce and Telesco, even though they were brand new, could not know how critical that and for GETSY to even be on the list, which brings me to Scott Turner. Okay. Once again, you've got a guy whose only experience at OC has been a complete fail. Okay? In Washington under Ron Rivera, between 2020 and 2022, that's 3 seasons. His offense never made it out of the 20s in ranking. Never.
Oh, wait a second. I'd take a 20 at this point.
I know you would.
And I will say
where's
this.
my tin cup? I'm begging now, you know.
I will say this though, okay, because that the numerics on that are obviously you can't dispute the numerics, but I'm going to dispute because you live in DC, okay. Mm-hmm. What did he have to work with in Washington from 20 to 22? Because everybody says that Norv Turner is the greatest, and he is a very good offensive coordinator. Okay,
he was a good offensive coordinator. Okay?
We'll get to that in again. But also, Norv Turner had Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Jay Novacek and all of those players, the ingredients. Oh, and that humongous offensive line.
But see,
wait a second. Time. What are the ingredients that Scott Turner had? I want to know because you know.
And I know what you're saying, and there's a school of thought. This is my school of thought. Roadmaps, coaches, when they take their show on the road and go to the other teams, they could never replicate it. That's because they had everything mapped out for them. My measure of a good coach is a guy that can take what he has and make it better and better and better. Can take a guy like a Plunkett, who everybody gave up on, right? You know, by the time he left San Francisco, you know, Heisman bust written on his forehead. And oh, by the way, the coaching staff of Tom Flores turned him into a 2-time Super Bowl champ. Now, I'm just saying, when you got a roadmap like Turner had down in Dallas, I submit you can't take that show on the road. That's what's wrong with Bill Belichick's crew. Everything is laid out for them. But when they have to create it themselves somewhere else, what happens? No shows. A good coach is a guy that can take nobodies and make them somebodies. Okay? And that's what I'm going to judge Pierce by. That's what I'm going to judge every coach by, except these guys that have all-star casts, like you talk about, Captain, the all-stars, future HOFers everywhere. What kind of work do they have to do? What kind of thinking, planning, designing? They got horses that'll win every race. There's nothing demanded of them, okay? And let's go back to Turner's record. 21st in offense in 2020, 29th in offense in 2022. This is overall total offense. And then in 2023, the year the Redskins let him go, he was again 24th in offense, total offense, as the offensive coordinator. I'm just saying, and oh, by the way, where did we last see Norv Turner as offensive coordinator? Do you remember, Captain? Minnesota.
Yeah, and the Panthers were 2019.
And they got rid of him, okay?
Yeah.
He could get, I tell you who he had. What was that boy that they drafted? Because he had AP, but they drafted this quarterback. He couldn't do nothing with him. Nothing.
Vikings quarterback.
A Vikings quarterback. I mean, he was, know who I'm talking about, the bust. The first rounder that I'm going to have to pull up my list.
Was it Sam Bradford that he went?
No. Sam was with the Rams.
Well, I know Sam was the Rams, but I thought Sam actually went from the Rams to the Vikings.
I want to say Christian somebody. What was this child's name? Christian Ponder. There you go.
Oh well, he sucked. Trust me.
Well, but the point is.
Trust me. No. I tell you what, I'm not going to lay that one on Norv. No, I'm not going to lay that one on Norv because I know Christian Ponder. Okay,
it's easy to tell.
He was a Florida State POS. Trust me.
Trust me. I understand where you don't have the basic tools.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I'm just pointing out the last time when we last saw Norv as an offensive coordinator, okay? It was for the Minnesota Vikings, and he couldn't get that poor corpse to play. But the whole point is, let's not get excited because the mistake was made in February. You have a Hardegree situation, okay? The guy, Turner, actually was an OC before, not a successful one, but he was an OC.
And I'll take that. I'll take that. Because,
like I said, beggars can't be choosers.
And I tell you what, because here's the thing. Remember, he's a former OC, so at least he has pedigree or at least he has experience, right? And then he brings dad in with him to help out. I'm telling you, and both you and I know, that the offense is only going to be as good as the offensive line in front of it that will block, pass, and block, run. And if they don't change, and in personnel they probably won't, if they don't change the scheme, it's going to be as horrendous as it was. I'm hoping that Philbon will change scheme, hat on hat, power block. And then you're going to find out if these guys are actually able to move the mountain that's in front of them. If
that's
they're not,
fine.
That's going to suck anyway. That's me.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean, the Raiders sort of didn't give Philbon a choice now, did they? Because they let the trading deadline pass and didn't go out there and get anybody for that O-line. The absolutely worst unit. Now, I don't know whether that's a signal there was nobody out there.
I was wondering. I
don't know.
Peggy, I actually kind of did homework. I was looking. I said, "Is there anybody that's there?" And I was kind of scouring when I had some time. And I didn't have a lot, but I did like it for like an hour or so over a couple of days. I said, "Is there anybody available that is, like maybe on the last year of a contract?" Or when I was looking. I don't recall. Now I remember that the Vikings actually got somebody when Darrisaw went down, who, by the way, was the guy that we should have drafted when Underwear or Underhill or whatever that bastard was out of Alabama that sucked. Darrisaw was on the board.
No, he didn't.
Well.
He sucked at tackle. He didn't suck at guard.
Well, but anyway. The Vikings went out and got a person from, I think it was the Jaguars, and they threw him in there on the line because I think he was the only guy that was semi kind of available to be picked up. Because I don't recall any offensive linemen out there that are in the last year or are kind of like, we really don't want them. I don't recall. I could be mistaken, but I don't recall. If there's nobody there, there's nobody there. Yeah.
But see, these are the consequences when you make your major mistake in February. Okay? By picking the wrong OC, who then doesn't realize the gravity but does realize he's in way over his head. Okay? And by the way, let me take a moment to welcome back Michael Meyer. I understand returned to camp to practice today.
That's great.
See that young man? I was very worried about him. I was hoping that all that talent wasn't going to be wasted. So going back to what we're saying, let's not expect any miracles, Raider fans. We have, by them letting the trade deadline pass and adding no one that we know of to that O-line, they're basically saying, okay, Philbon, right? He's the new line coach. Do your job. And see if you can make sense. But Raider fans, have y'all taken a look at the pass protection blocking of that line? I couldn't believe that these were guys that have played O-line, some of them since high school. It didn't. Did you see the technique, the shifting footwork, the arms stretched either too far or not in a position to give their bodies leverage? Those are basic O-line techniques. Why are we back to basics with this group? And oh, by the way, a friend of mine discussed how come James got a 3-year contract.
Well, I hear this.
And we went to the timeline. GETSY wasn't in the house 3 weeks. Telesco wasn't in the house a month. And he got a contract. We think that order came from on high to sign James, somebody that obviously didn't know football. Hint, hint. Who could it be, Captain?
Does he have a bad haircut?
I'm not sure how bad it is, but I know he got whiskers and everything, to take your mind off of the hair. Okay. We can't understand. Telesco and GETSY didn't know enough about James to extend that contract. They hadn't been in the house long enough. So who could it have been that told them to sign James to a 3-year contract?
I don't know. Other than anybody with a bad haircut.
And see, that's the interference with what the Raiders needed to do that happened in February. Okay? That brings us where we are today. It was as if no one had a clue how badly we needed very good offensive talent to help this team. And oh, by the way, what was Philbon doing this whole time while GETSY was sitting there messing up? Captain, do you have a clue?
No, actually, and see, that's kind of the things that's been upsetting.
Mystery.
Is that we have these guys. Okay, we got Marvin Lewis, who has all of this experience as a defensive guy and a head coach. We have Philbon, who has this experience as an offensive mind and a head coach. We got Tom Coughlin. We have Tom Coughlin as an advisor who can do offense and has been giving advice. So we have all of these people with all of this corporate knowledge, and it looks like they haven't been tapped, or the people that have tapped them have not listened to them. I don't know which one it is. I don't know what it is.
Wait a minute, and there's a third alternative.
Okay.
The politics of a sideline. And this is something that fans kind of overlook when they see all these crazy things getting done. Sometimes guys decide, you know what? We don't like him. We're going to get rid of him by not helping him. And we really don't care what happens to the team. Sometimes people like Pierce have to be convinced they made a mistake that way too. Because somebody was gung-ho on GETSY. Okay?
Well, one of those person that was gung-ho is playing for the Jets now.
I don't know who it is, but somebody was gung-ho on James and gung-ho on GETSY. There was nothing in GETSY's resume that recommended him for the enormous job of rebuilding the Raider offense. Nothing on his resume, yet he was on the list. And oh, by the way, at least 4 black offensive coordinators either turned the job down or were never approached. GETSY shouldn't even have been on your list. No losers. How did he get on the list? So there we go with that secret squirrel, sideline politics. Inquiring minds want to know. I mean, but let's talk more. Let's go to our report card, because in spite of the offensive change, I just wanted people to be aware. Let's not expect miracles, but let's be hopeful. And I want to start, Captain, going backwards. Let's get special teams out of the way. Mid-season, I want you to think of the first 9 games.
Wow. Boy,
Special teams.
I don't recall. I recall, I think maybe one Carlson miss. I don't recall too many times that Cole was screwed up. I don't recall too many
Well, it was
long.
a blocked punt, wasn't there?
Yeah. I don't recall too many long returns for that our guys gave up.
But they didn't turn the ball over either. Okay.
Yeah. I would give that a minus the block punt and minus the missed field goal by Carlson. I would still give it an A- based upon the results. I'd still keep it up in the A's, but I'd have to take a minus because they weren't perfect.
No.
Oh, good. And I didn't see that. Hey, we were thinking that, and I didn't even see that. Hey, that's awesome. We're actually thinking along the same lines too.
All right, and let's go. Let's go to the defensive secondary. I'm talking about the safeties and corners.
Yeah.
Jacorian's quietly having a great year.
Yeah, and Merrick is playing for a contract, and he's playing rather well.
Oh, he's really stepped his game up
Yeah.
another level.
Jack Jones did have a pick 6.
I mean, he plays pretty well. Hi, Edward. He's one of those guys like Jacobs. When I want to play,
yeah.
You know,
but it's unfortunate. We need a guy that wants to play, period. Not when he wants to play. And
we long for the good old days with the Mike Haynes and Lesters of the world.
Yeah.
We probably are fossils.
Yeah.
We have out of that. I mean,
and look at this. And I know that you are only a little bit older than me, but you look so much younger than me.
Oh, thank you, bud.
You look so much younger.
You got to tell my legs and knees that someday. But seriously,
I'd give him a B. I'd give him a B.
Secondary. Captain gives him a B, and I'm going to give him a B too. We've talked about this captain. I still think we got man corners, and we need a defensive scheme to take advantage of that, and I think they are.
Yeah.
For instance, I'm seeing Mooring closer to the line of scrimmage a lot. Haven't you?
Yeah. Like you said, the people that are looking for contracts, and I'm going to dime them out in a good way and a bad way. Merrick, I thought it was Merrick, but if it's Mooring, I thought anyway. Merrick, okay, Diablo. And Spillane, guys that are on, the last years and looking to get paid, have played well. And in the old, and I was going to say, but you called us fossils. I remember old Raiders, we were on that last year, their contract. Boy, they played so much better, didn't they?
Can you blame them? I mean, the Raiders have a huge pot of money. Who doesn't know this?
I think it's 120 million.
Right.
I think it's 120 million.
I ain't mad because they're playing their hearts out for the cash.
Yeah.
But I think Merrick in particular his game has gone to another level. And
he deserves it. And I believe, based upon what I've seen last year and this year, got to give it to Spillane too, based upon everything that I've seen.
I mean, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have linebackers. I mean, let's just call it like it is. And we're not grading them. You gave the secondary a B. Now I want to talk about the linebackers. And this is we've had so many injuries, Cap.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't want to give them an incomplete because of based upon the where they are. I'm going to have to give them a B minus because they're above norm, but not great. B minus C plus. They're doing their job, not the greatest, but they still can't cover the tight end though, but they haven't been able to do that.
Go.
They haven't been able to do, but they haven't done that in 20 something years.
But wait a minute. That's why I say, we're a little fossilized here.
Yeah.
The day that of a linebacker only plugging gaps and stopping the run is over. It's been over for a little while. Okay. The 49ers West Coast ended that. All right. A linebacker can no longer be, up on the line of scrimmage. He has to have eyes in the back of his head, and he has to know how to cover tight ends. And for that reason, I give the Raider linebackers a C. Now,
we're about the same, man. Well, you gave a little lower.
No, and the other part of why they also get a C is some games they aren't in the right gap.
I was going to say they're not. We don't even know we have linebackers
at all. They are swallowed by the running game, and I mean that goes to our D line, which I'm going to get to next.
Ooh.
But they have been swallowed up as part of, but somehow this is a unit that has cohesion. And I don't know how they do it, with the exception of the Bengal game, okay? They basically have held things within winning distance for our feeble offense.
True.
And I talk about the unit as a whole. Excuse me.
Right. Yeah, but see, it's the sum of the parts. Like I said, because we had what we gave the D-backs a B.
A B.
Right. We got the linebackers a C.
They're our weakest. To me, they're our weakest joint there, and people do exploit it. And when people were talking about, we can't get, GETSY covered, we can't get Kelsey covered. When have we ever covered the tight end?
We haven't. And I'm not being facetious when I said we haven't covered the tight end since the 70s. Yeah, since the 70s.
At least. And so, oh, by the way, we're not alone. There's quite a few teams whose linebackers can't cover. And I asked the question of you out there, why aren't they training linebackers at the college level for pass coverage? Somebody told me it's because then they turn them into safeties.
Right. And the other thing is that a lot of the times, because we've done it a couple of different times, right? We've taken safeties and we brought them in to be linebackers. We did that with Tanner Muse. We did that with Diablo. We did it with another gentleman whose name escapes me. We've done it at least 3 times. Tanner Muse didn't do it. Diablo is doing it now. Okay. There was another guy, and I can't remember because they don't do.
He still is. Again, Diablo's problem is that he reacts, and I don't need linebackers to react. I need them to read the play and be there in that gap. I need them to know at least 75% of the time, am I being unreasonable, what that play is and where they need to be.
Oh, okay. Amari Burney out of Florida.
Oh yeah, we got him, but he's a rookie. He's one of my
2 years, and he can. And yes, I'm being biased.
Same with Eichenberg. He can't even. The other part about the
Eichenberg,
they can't stay healthy.
Eichenberg is a true Midwest Big Ten linebacker. That's it. Bernie
can't stay healthy.
Well, and so unfortunately, his grade is incomplete because we can't see it.
I don't know what he can do.
Bernie is actually a SEC kid from Florida, played safety that's playing backer for us. And unfortunately, due to his injuries and/or I don't know why he's not playing more, but he has the ability. That's why if you get those grades, he's Eichenberg's incomplete, Bernie's incomplete. Even the kid that we got, the other Amari that made the grade for the last game. That's a special teamer. I can't remember his name. He looks like he could play linebacker, and I don't know why he's not on the field more, which is unfortunate.
It's our weakest link, and now I want to go right to the D line, okay? Because we talked about it off season. How we saw greatness in the Raiders' rushing attack. The Raiders only ranked 21st in sacks. I'm very disappointed, but we've had some injuries.
That's being kind.
I mean, major. I mean, most egregious is Wilkins. That was a huge blow.
Yeah.
I mean, just huge. And of course, Kuntz before the season even started.
Thank you.
Was game. I mean, that D line, and then we had dreams that Tyree was going to be able to roam up and down, play DTs some plays, play DEs other plays. We had all these dreams. But injury forced us into another reality, right?
Yeah.
Now we're playing decent, but we're not getting the sack production that we envisioned. We're just not. We're barely getting a sack a game. And that reminds me of the Gunther days.
God, don't even talk about Paulie G.
My
goodness.
But again, because of the injuries, because I think they're still trying to hold their own, and occasionally, right, they rise up and they really cause some disruption. Of course, against Burrow with that quick release, that was never going to happen. The kind of pressure that we need to bring to bear on him, because everybody that's beat him this year, what did they do? They got in his face. He can't take it when he can't see the field, when he can't deliver on time like he wants to. I have to still give the D-line. I want to give him a C+. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I was going to say, because they're
not their fault.
Right. They're playing above average, but not quite good enough for the B grade. I definitely had you at C+ at the same time too.
Right. I wanted to give them a B because I know they are playing their hearts out. Technique is right. They're getting penetration. They're just not getting there fast enough. They need that 1 to 2 seconds that a DT who's getting double teamed like Wilkins would have gave him. I mean, there would have been no stopping Max. Max would have 15 sacks by now.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't have, because he gets held every fucking play. And I'm sorry I dropped the
net. We're going to hopefully have a moment to talk about it. And of course, I go to the dreaded discussion of the offense. And I want you to be frank.
Oh, I could be Frank and Bill and George. I can be anybody you want.
Let's get this right out of the way. Offensive line, I'm going to give him an F right away.
Yeah. And that's kind.
I think that's kind.
I said Z formation, Z. It's horrible.
It is about their play and their coaching, but mostly about their play. I have watched the film week after week after week. Just terrible technique.
And see, that's the point. I think that these guys overall could play much better if you like you were talking about the basics. I see so much, and like with JPJ playing at center, the center of the future, he's going to be a really good center. Okay, I liked what I love what I see with Glaze, and he's a rookie. Although, he's had better game and bad, but it's the technique. And I don't know what happened to Mumford, but I had so much. He can play, but he doesn't play. So that's the point.
Whole line. It's all up and down the line. We could be looking at chronic injury.
Yeah, well, I think Miller is chronic injured. And if the Raiders don't get a left tackle next year with their second pick, or if they trade back into the first round, or acquire another first round pick with maneuvering, if they can do that, they need a QB, which I know everybody's going to talk about.
I don't want to talk about quarterback. I don't even want to talk about quarterback.
They need a QB, but they need a left tackle.
No. Before the QB, they need a solid O-line. People are hollering that both of them had come in the same, and let's hope that the O-line develops.
No,
you send that rookie to a first year of confidence destruction.
Peggy,
you don't get him. You cannot protect the veteran quarterbacks that you have. You need to get to that. I am tired of people talking about drafting a quarterback without talking about the basics.
Peggy.
I don't want any young guy in here until we fix that O-line.
Peggy, may I? As an offensive lineman, okay, and I'm playing GM for this question, okay?
Go ahead.
I get it. And I'm with you, sister. I'm with, preaching to the choir. I'm in the cards when we are going to go, hey, and hallelujah.
We're doing our amen chorus, right?
Amen.
I hear you, but I am so tired of hearing about a rookie quarterback. I don't want to hear about it.
Wait a second. The point is, okay, we need the O-line. But the factors of having where you are in the draft and what you're able to acquire when you are able to acquire them, if you're going to play commodity, and maybe Telesco is the guy that says we're at number 5, okay?
I don't care where we are.
We could end up back at 13 again. That's my point, though. As of right now, we're at number 5.
Let me cut the conversation. We're going to let you have your quarterback.
Peggy.
We're going to buy a line like we did in 2000. No, I'm never hearing
you're not letting me finish my point with Telesco. Telesco is a commodity guy where he is in the draft because he doesn't move up, okay? If we're picking at 5 or picking at 13, he's going to pick the best guy available. So it might be that quarterback or it might be that offensive tackle in the first round because he's going to get the best person available. That's my point. It depends on where we are in the draft as to who we're going to get. And for all you people that are clamoring for Sanders or Ward, because I like Ward, I like Dylan Gabe. Again, I know you don't want to hear about quarter, but we need an offensive line with first thing is a tackle and then a guard, just like we had before. We got to get those guys in the first 3 rounds. That's my draft board right now.
I don't even want a rookie. No, I don't want a rookie O-line either. I want them to take that $125 million and go out and do what we did in 2015 and 2016 and buy some all-pros for that line.
Okay.
At least 1 to 2. Then we can draft our quarterback first round.
Peggy, who's available?
Well, let's see whose contract is up in 2025 and who's
That's
out.
No, 2020. No, this year. Who is a free agent?
Well, you know how Sport Tracking them list them for the year they're actually can be negotiated with. Okay,
right,
and that would be 2025. We can't negotiate with them in 2024.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It said, but they should have a list of best free agent, OT, OG, or even OL for 2025. Okay.
Right.
So based upon that, we need the best free agent, guard, and or tackle, or both with that 125.
Look at all these centers available, and some of them are all pros.
But we don't need a center.
At them.
But do we need one? No.
Maybe not.
I don't think.
Let's go to guard. Okay.
Okay, you got your list. I'm just going to listen for what you got.
Martin is out there. Austin Corbett. Oh my God. I mean, here's a blast for the past, Captain Jack. John Feliciano.
Hey, I take John Feliciano right now.
Not at 32. Not at 33 years old. I wouldn't. But
he would be my backup plan.
I mean,
Feliciano has played well for the Bills, and there was another team that he's been on. But when I saw him play for the Bills, I said, and we have that bastard. And you know who else we had? Lester Cotton plays for the Dolphins, and we had his ass too. And he plays well.
Wait a minute. And here's just a flyer at 26 years old, Tevin Jenkins, right? Out of Oklahoma. And I mean, I'm thinking to myself, well, since we have to draft a quarterback first round and everybody's clamoring for it, there ain't nothing you can do about it. Let's buy us a line like we did in 2015.
Well, I'm all for that, but you know what? You still need BPA for the future because you can't fill all your holes in free agency.
I'm gonna tell you two holes at least that must be filled. We absolutely need 2 all-pro guards. I'm talking about top all-pro materials. Right now, our young guys have nobody to mentor them on that line. That's criminal.
Zach Martin when you said Zach Martin said, so I don't even, so give me some of that. Give me some of that, Zach Martin.
Do you understand what I'm saying? You got to go out and pay this man what he wants.
Yeah. Pay the man. Like Richard Pryor said it best. Pay the man. Pay the man.
Pay the man. Pay the man. Pay the man. We got the money. It's not like our bank is we trying to pinch pennies. I mean, and while you're talking about it, that left tackle spot, let's go to that.
Yeah.
You know who's out there. I don't want nobody who's in their 30s, although they might have a few more gallons in their tank, right? Jalen Moore. Oh, my God. Cam is out there. Cam Robinson. I mean, Hassan. Excuse me, not Hassan. What am I talking about? It's kind of slim picking. Tyron Smith is out there.
I take
33.
Cam Robinson, no. He's been overpaid for years for a lack of production. There's a reason why he's a free agent. Cam Robinson had his best years when he was a rookie and a second-year player, and he's gone down ever since. I don't want anything to do with Cam Robinson.
When you have a line like the Raiders had, and we're going to draft a quarterback first round, I think we'll have to talk Raider fans off the ledge. If that does not happen, then you're going to have to buy you a line. And I'm going to talk about, I'll take a guard and a left tackle. How about that?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not in it.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Give me a
guard. Like 2 guards and a left tackle because both the guard positions are complete trash.
Right. But I will say this. Maybe Mr. Mumford will slide in on one of those other guards and play better as a guard than he does as a tackle because I think he has it in him. Okay. So then we just do need that left tackle. We do need a guard. Maybe Mumford goes over to the other guard. JPJ stays at center and Glaze is our right tackle. That's the world according to Captain Jack, the O-line coach.
But we need to do what we did in 2015, and people had to remind me. We went out and got Osemele, right?
And Donald Penn, yeah.
Right? And there was a third one. Oh, it's Hudson, the center.
Yeah.
We bought Derek Carr line.
Yeah.
Okay. And oh, by the way, coincidentally, it was the best year that they ever had.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are the things that escape some people that don't know that much about the game. Everything you do on offense starts up front. I don't care if you have a running quarterback or a mobile quarterback. I don't care what kind of quarterback you have. Everything, because you have to run the football, which has been the Raiders' major problem this year.
And by the way, I hope you're saving some of that free agent money for the best free agent running back out there too.
I don't think we have a running back problem. I think we have an O-line problem.
Well, Yes and no. I said I like what we got right now, but
Why
I
are
think
we
it could be
paying attention to running back? I need the money to pay to buy me an O-line since everybody's saying we got to draft a quarterback first round.
I'm just saying
we got O-line.
I got that. But if we got all that money that you're talking about, okay. And by the way, like I said, we remember Wilkins is coming back, and I think Coons is going to be it. We're going to get Coons if he wants to stay on a decent 1-year prove-it deal.
We already talked defense.
No. But I'm looking a widespread. 120. We're going to have to buy a tackle and a guard, yes, and then a decent running back with that rookie quarterback we got, and we still got money for one other defensive standout. And then
I don't think defense needs a dime. Okay? Our problem is on the offensive side of the ball, and I don't get why anybody would think that any priority on this team should be anything but A, improving the O-line, B, getting you a quarterback. I don't see any other priorities higher than that. Now,
I don't either, but I'm talking about all this money, Peggy. All this money. And we're talking all this money, tackle, guard, right? And we're gonna have to spend money on by the way, a cornerback. Yeah, I said it, a cornerback. Why? Because I don't think Jack Jones is all that in a biscuit. He plays when he wants to play. I'm
not spending my money unless I got some cash left over. He's the least of my problems.
But that's a problem when he walks, because I think he's gone at the end of the year too. Okay.
Well, there's some people out there, they won't be shedding tears in it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not shedding tears. I like Jacorian Bennett, right? And I think that we're going to be good with Smith coming up.
But I think we have to keep Jones just to keep that thing alive about what you can do when you have two press corners, 2-man corners, the things you can do with a defense. Woo!
Like I said, I still think tackle, guard, and maybe some like a swing guard tackle. Give me and again, this is the 120, Peggy. All of the 120. We're gonna get out.
Finish the report card because I've only got 7 more minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. But this is important shit, though. Go ahead.
You forgot about again. The defense is like way down on my list.
Yeah.
Next, wide receiver, midterm grade.
Surprisingly, I'll give them a C+ based upon the fact that we got Jacoby Myers, and incomplete everywhere else because we haven't been able to use Turner or Tucker or the rookie out of Tennessee. Because the fucking O-line sucks. I know this.
Captain, everything that you're talking about
is dependent upon the O-line. And who said that? Every time we've been on the show, the O-line runs this team.
Okay. Wide receiver, I'm going to give him a D. And I'm going to tell you why. Because in all the games that we have had, the one thing I keep seeing about those two young, and I'm talking about Tucker and Turner, because remember, we list Myers for 2 games. He was out 2 games. But Tucker and Turner been there the whole time. These children have not learned how to run a route and get off the line of scrimmage clean yet. I think they're small.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And I think they probably need to go out of the slot because they're small, which then leaves that other wide receiver slot across from Myers vacant.
Right.
Okay. Essentially,
you could
put
actually
Flowers there, but you could
do something with that if you use the kid from Tennessee more, who has so much.
What about McAllister?
No, the kid from Tennessee that can run like a 4.1 40 and can actually catch.
But can he get off the line of scrimmage?
Yes, he's big. He's not Tucker. He's not Turner. He's big and he can catch the ball. I know this. I know this because I'm an SEC guy, and he was playing in the one game. Like, use his ass more, and I can't remember his name.
Well, and this is now. Are you talking about on the depth chart? I'm going to go to our lads for the Raiders. I have no idea who you're talking about.
I'll say as soon as you say his name, I'll say that dude.
Yeah, but I mean, who knows?
Who knows? I think he's number 82. 82.
He really hasn't been in the game enough. You're talking about Raymel Keaton.
Thank you, Keaton. 82. Because he's played one game and it was against Cincinnati. They haven't played him yet. And when he was there,
maybe with Turner in the passing game, at least Turner knows how vital it is for the Raiders to get that deep passing game going. I keep saying, I don't care if you throw 10 times deep and it's incomplete all 10 times. You have got to get those 5
to get the people off the line of scrimmage. Thank you.
There you go. You have, because you can't run the football and you can't pass protect with a constant 6'5", 6". And sometimes people are mean to us, like the Rams. They'll even give us a 7-man front. Knowing that our boys can barely handle the 5-man fronts, right? Yep. They will rotate it around. I see those defensive coordinators thinking, look, they having trouble handling the 5-man line. Why don't I give them 6 this time? You see, and then I get a sack. See, that's the whole issue with lack of a deep passing game. We just
I got you. I
got to give them boys a D because they haven't learned in 8 games. And that goes back to whoever my wide receiver coach is, because they need to get rid of him too.
I think the wide receiver coach is the old Packers running back.
Yeah, well, you know what? He ain't taught them boys nothing. Okay? They still can't get off the line of scrimmage clean. And they still, with the routes that they run, I don't know whether it's by design. Can you tell? Is it design that they only run 20 or less yard routes? Is that?
I think it's unfortunate. It's by design, that because they know that the O-line can't block. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. The design is because they know that the O-line is going to break down in 3 seconds. So with the speed, they figured that they can get to about the 20-yard mark, turn around and be there, and or run shallow crosses. It's so football.
You know how pathetic that is, and how much music that is to a defensive coordinator's ears.
Yeah, it's true.
I only have to cover half the field. I can send the rest of my guys after the quarterback.
Yeah.
Or stop the run, which would be.
And then all they have to do is basically cover Bowers or cover Myers and know that it don't take them out. And we got nothing.
By the way, they haven't been able to cover Bowers. We have our Kelsey now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but where is he in the second and the third quarter when he disappears? That's by
disappeared.
Because they don't have him on the field. Because they don't have him on the field. And that's
they don't have play, because GETSY never knew what to do. GETSY was so clueless. We can't even go into the depths of how much knowledge he did not have.
And that is why I think we're going to see an improvement with Scott Turner and Norv just by default. Just by default. By default.
I understand beggars cannot be choosers, but I want you to keep in mind that this is another OC that has failed in his first OC job. And if that's what we're talking about here, if we're talking about success, I want somebody who has demonstrated success. I do not want any more experiments. Dr. Frankenstein, Zvengali. Did you like the way I said that, right? I don't want any of this hope against hope stuff going on with the Raiders anymore. Be practical. Get a guy in here that succeeded, maybe even made it to the playoffs for sure, has won a lot of games.
Okay.
And if you had to go to college to get them, or you didn't go to college to get them.
Nope. And we're both going to agree on this one. Where's Eric Bieniemy?
Well, see, Bieniemy was out there in February. Like I told you, no black offensive coordinators until yesterday are working in the league, even though there's 5 experienced, successful ones that were out there. I don't even know. We don't know whether the Raiders approached them, talked to them. They said no. We don't know. But there are 0 black offensive coordinators working this year. And that is not an accident. Anytime a guy like GETSY and this bum that Chicago fired yesterday, Waldron, get jobs before the likes of a Byron Leftwich or a Brian Johnson get a job, something's going on.
I thought Brian Johnson was the lead singer for AC/DC.
I thought he was too, but turns out he's an experienced offensive coordinator. It didn't work out in Philadelphia for him. But that was, it's so political up there. I don't know what went on there. All I know is
I'd take Byron Leftwich in a heartbeat because I've seen him down here.
About. Byron was out there.
Yeah.
I keep going back to this. Why was GETSY even on the Raiders' radar? No more losers. Winners, not losers. Okay? If you fail somewhere else, this job is going to be too much for you. I'm sorry. You need to have had success and know what it looks like in order to replicate it here in Vegas. I can't say that anymore. No more Svengali. No more Mark Davis hoping that a guy with 0 experience, a.k.a. Todd Downing, a.k.a. Reggie McKenzie, a.k.a. Dennis Allen, 0 experience. Why do we keep going there? Why do we keep going to the same well, Captain? I'm not understanding why we're doing that when we need so much help.
Well, okay.
I think so much help.
I think it begs the question then, because we've always done for the halfway point.
Mayock, Ziegler.
No. This is the big one, Peggy. Does AP survive the year to coach next year?
Absolutely. You'd be a fool. The Raiders would be a fool to throw the baby out with a bathwater. It's not his fault that he didn't have enough sense to know that he needed an offensive coordinator with more than 2 daggone years of experience. He knows it now, though, doesn't he?
Okay. But, and I agree that, he may or may not be a casualty. But if you listen to that,
why would you throw him out?
Whoa. The same team meeting that a year ago ousted he who shall not be named and brought forth Antonio Pierce as the head coach, the same team meeting about a week ago was not very fruitful for Mr. Antonio Pierce per reports.
Now, listen, I know a lot of people want to get rid of Pierce.
Oh, like I said, I'm not one of them, Peggy, but I tell you what.
No. I know a lot of people want to get rid of Pierce, and I know why. okay? Because they think somebody else should have the job, okay? And I'm going to leave it like that. I think if the likes of a Joe Judge, okay, a Charlie Weiss, any of the aforementioned bums that I could say that can get 2 and 3 years to coach into oblivion, like Brian Daboll, Mike McCarthy, if they can get, no, Mike wasn't a brand new. He came from Green Bay.
Yeah, I was going to say Mike had pedigree.
I'm talking about Brian Daboll. If those guys can get 2 and 3 years to make a complete mess of things, I think Pierce deserves his chance to. Why wouldn't you give it to him?
I got it, but you know what? There are going to be people.
Give it to him?
There are going to be people that say, and I know it smacks upon race. I know it does. I know it does because there's the guy that was one and done in Arizona, and I can't remember his name. He was the head coach.
You know who it is? Wilkes. He's the one that was one and done in San Francisco as defensive coordinator. They fired him too. Okay.
Point being, what they're gonna say is we can keep Antonio Pierce, or we can go out and try to get Ben Johnson from the Lions.
No. What we can do is keep Antonio Pierce and surround him with the tools he needs to win.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
And any other discussion, I will deem with a person with another agenda. And I'm going to leave it like that.
That's my point, though, Peggy.
Another agenda.
That's my point.
Why would the Raiders keep getting rid of coaches? Why are we thinking that that's helping us be a better team?
Peggy, I'm with you on that theme, but that other agenda is going to be heard. Is going to be heard. The other agenda is going to be heard, and you know it, and I know it.
Well, heard is one thing, credibility is another, and pointing out where it makes no sense for the Raiders to continue to change head coaches after head coaches. The best teams in the league, what do they have? Stability. Even if he's a bad coach. Look at the Maras in New York. They know they got to get rid of Brian Daboll, but they gave him enough time to see whether it worked. That's what the good franchises in the league do. They don't just keep dumping head coach after head coach after head coach like Madden franchise mode. Let's change. Let's click, and change the quote.
If you're going to go there, what is the historical precedence? Minus Madden, minus Tom Flores, what is the historical precedence of the Oakland, Los Angeles, Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders on head coaches, Peggy?
Are you saying that because we've always done it, we should continue to do it?
I'm just saying.
I don't know what you're saying. I think this is something. This is a culture that we have.
It is.
And that's why we haven't seen a Super Bowl in 40 years. I mean, a Super Bowl.
I get it. But what is
40 years? You want to keep doing it, okay?
What is the constant in the organization? It's a person by the name of Davis running it.
And there's still a lot of stuff going on in the background, churning in the background that keeps us from being successful. I understand that. But at this point, I mean, for Mark to go and throw Pierce out after 1 year, albeit I mean, I'd have cut his head off for hiring GETSY or allowing him to be hired. Don't you know any better? Don't you know people are trying to take your job from you, get you fired? That was a get Pierce fired move when GETSY showed up on his list. That was a trap.
Then Antonio Pierce needs to, I mean, yesterday, start talking to people about the staff. Now, I don't know if I'm just saying people that might be unemployed. He said you might want to start getting your staff together for next year.
But we all assumed that he understood the gravity of the situation. Not only what is it about a coach keeping their job,
right?
A brand new coach, but it was the offense, the Raider offense that had been decimated.
Right.
There would have been no other priority for me to go out and get the best guy I can to help me fix this mess.
Well, I think that Mr. Antonio Pierce needs to start calling people now, okay, that are available now.
We'll see
and start lining them up.
Well, we'll see if he got smarter. And if he hasn't, then we'll find out in his next OC choice. But he better start thinking about choosing a guy that's going to make him look good.
Oh, I agree. And by the way, he's going to need a new DC.
Listening to these people.
He's going to need a new DC after the season 2 because the other PG is probably going to be swooped up to be a head coach by somebody else based upon what he has done with the Raiders defense.
We shall see. Some people know where their top limit is. I mean, they know where they belong. Okay?
Yeah.
Some people instinctively know that and they stay there. Okay?
And some people think that they can do better as head coaches when they are relegated to being a very good offensive coordinator or being a very good defensive coordinator, and then people figure out.
AKA Norv Turner.
And you were just stealing my thunder. AKA Norv Turner. Okay, AKA anybody that's on the Belichick staff. Okay, because they suck. Okay. People think that, oh, well, you're going to be great as a head. No, you aren't. You suck as a head coach because your limit was as an OC or a DC or a special teams coordinator for that matter.
Or a lackey carrying Bill Belichick's coffee around. I'm just saying, Bill never gave any of his staff the 30,000-foot view. Because if he had, they'd have known what they were doing when they went to other teams and tried to coach. Okay? All of his people were yes men. Okay? And that's why they never learned how to truly coach. It was a roadmap Bill made out for them, and they weren't real coaches. They were just position holders. We need a guy that's a real coach. Mm-hmm. Not a guy that had a roadmap, but someone that took a motley crew. I love that name, right? Love that group. And crafted them into the kind of offense. I just can't believe what Dick Vermeil did, right? With the St. Louis Rams. He took a quarterback that was, where was he? In a grocery store somewhere?
Yeah.
Bagging groceries?
Yeah.
And quietly started putting together, got his little Marshall Falk and Isaac guys, older guys who had been trying to, break it. And what happened? What they call it? The greatest
show on turf.
The greatest show on turf. I need a guy like that. It wasn't there for him. He pulled it together.
Yeah.
With little pieces here and there. He grabbed a couple of free agents. He drafted a Torrey Holt, and lo and behold. And of course, the first thing Vermeil worked on was, guess what? Hola.
Yeah, and he took Orlando Pace from us.
And I'm saying that's the kind of guy we need here.
And I agree. But I think if you're going to go along that route, you can't have it both ways. If you want that guy, it might not be a P. If you do want because you're saying you got a guy that's going to craft
an offense.
Okay.
He don't know jack about offense. He don't know.
I know.
That's one of the reasons why somebody sold him GETSY as a bill of goods, because he don't know jack about offense.
Well,
if he knew anything about offense, he could knew how much trouble we were in.
Then Antonio Pierce needs some stalwart tutelage by Marvin Lewis, by Tom Coughlin.
Marvin don't know jack about offense either.
I'm talking
about offensive.
No, you're not reading me, Peggy. Marvin Lewis knows how to be a head coach to get the right guy. Okay? These guys that have been former head coaches. Was
Marvin here when GETSY was on the list?
Yeah.
I think he was.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Tell Pierce, hell no. Tell him no. Get a guy. Get Bieniemy. We don't know if they did have that conversation because we don't know from on high. You're right about that. We do not know.
We don't know
who we approached, who said no. I'm not going to the Raiders because they eat coaches for breakfast. We don't know. But I do know this, that Pierce cannot afford to make another mistake at that level anymore. His next OC choice better be right, or he's gone.
And so that's not including Scott Turner right now. You're talking about for next year.
He's an interim, and I told you he shouldn't be on the list either.
I get that. I'm just making sure that it is.
I wouldn't put him on none of my list.
Peggy, Peggy, I'm just saying, I'm holding you to that his next OC does not include the interim that's playing it right now. What I'm asking is, I'm holding you to that. Scott Turner is not in the equation. The next
I bet you he'll be on the list. I bet you he'll be on the list.
The next
because
OC
he has pedigree.
Right. And that's why I'm saying, if you're going to live with that decision, that I'm holding you to that, because again, he needs to have somebody that is worthwhile for that title of OC. Okay. I would even say
mostly somebody who has seen success. I'm talking about ran a top 10. Heck, let's give him a top 15 offense.
Okay. Look up what the results are for Lincoln Riley, for Kubiak.
I've heard that name. I keep hearing Lincoln, but Lincoln ain't gonna want to be an OC. He gonna want to be head coach.
That's what I'm saying. But he might not say, "Hey, if you come here, we got the OC position for you," and
why would he come to the Raiders? Nobody worth their salt is voluntarily coming to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't have it both ways, Peggy. You can't get these great OCs.
No, but you can get a Bieniemy here. You can get a Bieniemy here.
If Mark Davis
says, you can get a Brian Johnson. Well, that's the wild card behind the scenes. We just don't know. Okay? What we do know is that people like GETSY and Turner should not be on the list.
And if we're going to go with people that are available, I will say, give me a Brian, because again, I like Eric Bieniemy, but there's been so much talk of him not being a viable positional, and I'm just going to say that BS or whatever. So if we take him out of the equation, because I like Eric Bieniemy to be the OC.
Let me explain something about the NFL that perhaps I know you know this. Some people will tell you not to go after somebody because they don't want you to have them. And Pierce has got to be smart enough to know when he's getting that kind of advice too. Al Davis learned that early. Okay? You know he learned that. They told him, don't get Lyle Alzado. Don't get Willie Brown. They are troublemakers. Leave Ted Hendricks in Green Bay. Al learned early. The reason why they're telling you that is because they don't want you to have them. You got to know the difference. When you're hearing all these negative rumors, gossip about people, it's not because they really believe it. They just don't want you to get them. Al learned that.
Well, that'll
be ignore all of it.
That'll be
Pierce's got to do that too.
Well, that'll be up to Mr. Antonio Pierce and
Telesco.
And
no, I mean, I'm not sure we know the extent of Davis's, interference, okay, with what's going on. I am quite sure he did not tell them. He didn't know what a GETSY was. He probably thought it was a duck or something.
Yeah, well, he's also the schmuck that got us saddled with Downing because they went to Davis and said, "Oh, it was Tice, by the way."
Well, that's McKenzie, not knowing what the hell he's doing.
I get it. What I'm telling you, I'm telling you, Peggy, we don't know because we've had such a dysfunctional team. We don't know what we don't know about people sticking their noses and ears and mouths into situations that screw things up. We don't know. I will say I'll give it to Telesco and AP to fix this shit. And hopefully
we are,
it will be.
As a
Hopefully
franchise, you know this, Captain. We're in an era where we're kind of Christopher Columbus. This is out past in 2011? For the last 13 years, we kind of are charting new territory with this GM coach owner thing. It's brand new for Raider culture. We had one guy who was everything. And now we are trying to function in this new environment where now we have the correct power structure, but we still don't know how to use it. I don't know how to use it yet. Why would we? It's not in our DNA, right? We wasn't born and raised like that. We had one GM, one owner, probably one coach, but I digress.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in our DNA. We wasn't raised that way. We've never had a power sharing and an understanding of the boundaries, rules, responsibilities between an owner, GM, head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, Pierce got to get that straight.
No, I agree. And by the way, I'm sorry. I've been so involved with Miss Peggy. I'm sorry.
Oh, what's going on? Are they shouting at you? Are they shouting?
No. They were joining. Twan. The folks over there on IG. I apologize. I got so involved with Peggy because me and Peggy. No. Me and Peggy get a chance to meet about the energy. Yeah, it's good. So to Raider Ron and the Twan and P3 Trosh and Finn Warrior. No, I'm not going to the Dolphins Raiders game. I'm not putting another bit of my money on this team that I haven't already spent money on. That's guaranteed. I'm going to every Vegas game that remains and Tampa because those games are bought.
That's good enough.
I'm not going to Miami to watch a shit show. And that's
Right.
for both teams, by the way. That's for the Raiders and the Dolphins.
But let's face it. I mean, the time to have made this season worthwhile passed in February.
Oh,
Major
yeah. Well,
mistake was made. So now we look for next February.
Yeah.
And Pierce has to know he cannot let people make decisions as huge as offensive coordinator for him. And he cannot listen to people who say, don't interview so-and-so. You know why they don't want us to have Bieniemy. You know good and well why the Chiefs don't want us to have Bieniemy. I mean, come on now, use common sense. He knows all about the AFC West. He knows all about Mahomes. Of course, they don't want us to interview him.
Well, but he's I would take Eric Bieniemy in a minute, and I don't care about the quote unquote the past. I don't. I would take Eric.
I went through his whole history. I'm trying to figure out why they trying to hold stuff at Colorado that he did at Colorado 10 years ago against him.
That's it.
Trying to hold a DWI or whatever he was supposed to have, and then gonna hang the last year of Ron Rivera on him. Are you serious?
No. Actually, it was more than the DWI, Peggy. Did he
go to jail? Did he get convicted of something?
No. What I'm saying is just the DWI. It was the allegations of.
Allegations. Gossip.
No, but it was the state, the allegations of sexual misconduct at the time. He did not go to jail.
Their punishment meted out. Was he fired? Did someone come out as the NCAA sanction him?
No.
I mean, you see, you're not telling me anything but rumor and innuendo.
Peggy, I'm just for the people that don't know.
They don't want us to have Bieniemy.
Peggy, there are people in the audience that are like, why are they talking? Because there were allegations, and again, in the past.
What is an allegation?
Peggy, I'm just trying to keep up with the people that don't fucking know. In the past. I'm
sorry. The way I come from.
I get it, but there are people.
We don't even talk about them because they have no evidence, conviction, any NCAA. Hey, wait a minute.
Peggy, I'm catching the audience up. Okay, for people that don't know. You know, and I know, but there are people out there that watch and listen that don't know. That's why I'm trying to figure out
what we're talking about because I don't talk about allegations.
But allegations is what keeping him away from the head coaching ranks. That's the point.
Oh, really?
Yes, and the fact that he has been blackballed by the NFL per se.
Maybe not. I've seen a lot of people rise again from the phoenix from the ashes. I've seen it.
I got you, but like I said, there are people that don't know, Peggy. I'm just saying I'm doing it as a public service so people can say.
The reason Bieniemy is blackballed is because they don't want anyone else to have him.
Okay,
Kermit has come out and said, he's the best coach I've ever had. Kermit hasn't played well since Bieniemy has left.
Peggy, I've got that. I'm not saying yay, nay, or otherwise. I'm trying to fill in the background for everybody. I told you I'd love to have Eric Bieniemy as my OC.
There are people saying number code words. Well, they really are number code words. I'm just saying the Raiders Our beggars can't be choosers, Captain.
And this is the big if Antonio Pierce is head coach for next year, and we have established that his next OC, notwithstanding anything that's interim right now, is the biggest decision he's going to have to make.
Y'all really want that man fired, don't you?
I do not want that man fired. I'm just saying. He has to last a year.
Okay.
He has to last a year. And by the way, remember, he was brought in, Telesco was brought in after he was given the job, correct?
Right. And let's say it this way. Telesco's record for hiring head coaches is not the reason why he's here. That's not the reason why he's here.
Yeah. Telesco was brought in to build a team, not to make a coaching position. Exactly. Okay.
And I think that's where a GM belongs. I really believe that us Raiders, just learning what a GM is, I think that's where GM belongs. I need him to work on my talent. Mm-hmm. Okay. He don't need to be hiring on head coaches. And he definitely, but the other thing I do need from the GM is it stopped the coach from making bad football decisions. I demand that my GM protect the organization from bad football decisions. Telesco did not protect us from the hiring of GETSY. Okay? Just like McKenzie didn't protect us from the firing of Musgrave. You have got to stop bad football decisions. I think that's your job as GM, besides finding us talent, right? Now, as far as
I was going to say,
I don't know about that.
I will settle for the fact is that at least with Telesco, the number 1 draft choice, the number 2 draft choice, and the number 3 draft choices are all starters on this team.
The guy has a record,
and they are tight end in football.
Out the number 10 since Indianapolis of finding talent. That's not his problem. And oh, by the way, he got for the Charger fans who ain't never been right about anything. Telesco was fired because Harbaugh already had made the deal with Spanos. And one of the parts of the deal was he wasn't going to have no GM interfering.
Right.
Harbaugh, remember what happened in San Francisco with Trent Baalke, right? He ain't going to have no GM on his shoulder this time. You know he made sure of that. So
yeah, Harbaugh
was always going to be fired with Staley.
Harbaugh said, "I'm coming in on the Gruden deal. I have control over the team."
There you go. He'll never let what happened to him in San Francisco happen again.
Yeah.
He'll absolutely never let that happen again. I mean, the guy can write his own ticket. He was never coming to the Raiders, folks. We were never going to get Harbaugh. They had already made the deal. Telesco was going out the door with Staley to make room for Harbaugh. There's only explanation. I mean, that was clear to me when they fired them both. Remember that 63-point game? Oh. Raiders had scored 0 points the week before, right? Against the Rams.
No, it was the Vikings.
Oh, the Vikings, excuse me.
Yeah, they lost 3-0.
Right, Captain. I mean, we scored 0 points.
Yeah.
And then was it Thursday night? We scored. What was it? The very next week we scored.
No, it was the next Sunday. They scored 0 against the Vikings on a Sunday. Then the following Sunday, because I was there for both, they score 53. They put a 53 burger on the Chargers. I'll be kind of calling them. Normally I call
63.
them
63.
Oh, sorry. No. No, they didn't get 60. It was 53.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was pretty sure, but at any rate,
yeah.
That,
and remember though,
that moved up the timetable.
Right.
For the Spanoses, they were like, "Oh no, I want him out of my building."
Right. Because the Raider fans were pissed that we didn't go for at least 60, because even when the Dolphins had that game where it was 53. And remember, 14.
No, it was definitely 63, and I can send that to. I just looked it up. 63-21.
Okay. Yep.
But my real point was not to correct you, but to
no, you're right, because Mike said the same thing. I know what I was thinking. They wanted the 70 burger. I know that they were a touchdown away from the 70 burger. That's what I was thinking. And they were like, go for it.
And let me say this, that, I mean, all of this, the hiring of Pierce and everything, if Mark didn't want that to happen, it would not have happened. There was a lot of outside pressure, and I kind of stay neutral because I'm always wary of hiring a guy for the Raiders with no experience. This job is a huge job. I mean, being a coach for the Raiders in the kind of bad decisions that we've made the last 12 years, it is a major job. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was wary about bringing anybody in with zero experience. I mean, and not only that, Pierce's experience hadn't even been on the pro level.
Yeah. His head coaching duties has been in high school. He was a defensive coordinator for Arizona State, and now he's thrust into a head coaching position. And that's a lot to ask of somebody to ascend.
A huge step up.
Yeah.
And I expect him to make the kind of like game decision errors, clock issues, personnel, something that I expect. But he's got to have the basic instincts to know when somebody trying to sell him a bill of goods, because there's a lot of people out there that don't want him to have that job. And he's got to know that they're going to be sending him bad advice. And they're going to be telling him, oh, don't talk to so-and-so. And don't interview him. And he's a troublemaker and whatever. And he's got to know how to sift through. I mean, that ain't got nothing to do with his coaching experience. That's about judgment.
Yeah. And hopefully his choice as OC for the 2025 Raiders staff. See how I'm doing this? As Antonio Pierce's head coach of the Raiders for 2025, his decision, maybe. No, I'm playing along with his choice for OC, which would mean that he is the head coach for next year. Because if he doesn't get that far, this is all OBE anyway.
Right. And I don't think Ed makes a good point that he doesn't think AP would be our HC unless, it's Mark's. It's Mark's job. Mark, after having made that huge mistake with McDaniels, is not going to get further egg in his face by firing Pierce after 1 year. This is coming from people who don't like the Raiders.
I get it, and that's why he says his choice. Are haters.
These are people that are hating the team, and by the way, they're Raider fans that hate the Raiders because they moved from Oakland.
Yeah, that goes with hate.
Hatred is deep,
folks.
Deep. They don't want anything good to happen to us because Mark moved the team from Oakland.
Well, for those people, they can bite me.
Okay, I've been telling them to bite me for darn near 5 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
they can buy it. And folks, if you don't, because everybody thinks, or not everybody, but a predominance of people think, for me, oh, Captain Jack is from the Bay Area. And Captain Jack lives in California or Arizona or
Hey, let him think
Nevada.
that. Let him think that.
I live in Florida and I've been a Raider fan since I was a kid in Philadelphia. If you haven't figured that shit out, you have not been paying attention to any of my stuff.
Don't get me started about,
right.
if you're not a Californian, you can't be a Raider fan.
You can't. I can't be a Raider. Yeah, but and Peggy and Violator and me have our roots, and we're not from California.
Nope.
But we're Raider fans through and through and through and thick and true.
Mm-hmm. And I think that it would be foolish for Mark to turn right around and get rid of another head coach. What does that advertise? We're already in deep doo-doo for what we did to Carr and Adams, okay? Running them out of town. But nevertheless, other players around, other star players are watching that.
Yeah.
Because as I said at the time that we got rid of Carr, and Adams talk about it's a business decision, I'm like, honey, you're next. Do you think they're going to treat you any differently? What makes you so special? And sure enough, what happened? This is what other players around the league, players that we need to come here, are looking at. How we treat free agents, how we treated Carr, who had been here 9 years. Remember, they're taking a huge risk to their careers to come here.
Mm-hmm.
They really are, because we're so badly managed and we're so badly coached, and we don't know how to treat our players. And that's something to think about when we talk about our little shopping list. We got shopping list next year, don't we, Cap? We got 125 million.
We got 120 million. We got 120 million to spend, and I'm hoping that we get the best bang for the buck. And by the way, I don't know if we need to spend all of that 120, because we need to keep building. I would say at least 80 of that should be spent next year. At least 80 on people, viable people, OG.
I mean, you
talent.
think we only need
Just
one
like
guard? I want to buy 2 guards and a tackle.
Yeah, but, and that might be 80.
Of course, you might take my credit card away after I get the first tackle and the guard. I'll understand if you take my credit cards away, because I'm going crazy. Okay.
Yeah, but if you get the right people,
that's important.
If you get the right people for that money, and that's why I said you need people like and I like Telesco. I also want to see. I want to see, and I want to see Champ still here, but I think he will be gone with it to be a GM somewhere else. But if you get Telesco and Champ, yeah. But if you get Champ and Telesco working together to get the right people for this staff,
but I like how that money should
be said.
I'm always suspicious, because I know the Raiders very, very well, and you do too, Captain. I'm always suspicious of organization people like Champ, because I think that the Raider culture limits their vision, their view. It prevents them from a wide sweep of the talent available, even the talent that, we're Raider, we don't want him. I mean, it prevents us from sometimes these guys that have been around the organization a long time, and I know them very well,
Mm-hmm.
They tend to be list crosser offers. Okay?
Yeah, but wait a second, Peggy. We got.
I don't want this guy. I don't want that guy. I don't want that guy. Instead of, let's bring him in for a trial.
Okay, but we got Champ from the Bears. He's not organizational.
How long has he been here?
He's been here about, I want to say, 5 years now.
That's
approximately.
That's long enough to have drank the Kool-Aid. I know them. I know the Raiders. They will make you one of their creatures, or you will not stay. Trust and believe. The people that leave, that come and go, have you noticed a lot of people in for a year and gone? Those are the people that wouldn't drink the Kool-Aid.
I get it. By the way, you know, and if you don't know, I'm going to drop a history lesson on you, because I hate that. I hate that. It was Flavor Aid. It wasn't Kool-Aid in Jonestown.
I keep getting it wrong,
Flavor Aid. But that's not what people say.
What was it? Was it cherry? I don't know what a cherry or what a grape.
I think it was cherry Flavor Aid, because this is the American educational system at its finest. It was Flavor Aid in Jonestown, and that's where we got the expression. And people don't even remember it was Flavor Aid.
They don't. They know what I mean. But what we have to understand is the people that have been around this organization 3 or more years, they done drank the Kool-Aid, or they wouldn't be here.
They definitely drank the Kool-Aid.
They wouldn't be.
Yeah.
You gotta be Raider through and through, and Raider people tend to exclude.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true.
Okay. And that's a culture habit that we really need to break. We have got to start looking. Al never had any problems looking far and wide for what he wanted. Didn't he? I mean, he would be skulking around, division, what do y'all call it, 2A, and,
or the historically black universities, HBCs.
He would be skulking around places looking for talent, and we've gotten away from that.
Yes,
talent is out there. You just have to go find it. You have to get up off of behind that little mahogany desk, cherry wood, and get out there and start taking trains, planes, and automobiles to the places you need to go to find talent. And, instead of relying on that network, right, that gives you printouts, of what some scout said about this guy at Mississippi Valley State. You know what I'm saying? It's become too electronic. And man, I told you.
Yeah, but remember the
fossils.
The Raiders were, thank you that you mentioned it. The Raiders were the very last team in the NFL to buy into the consortium of the electronic crap, because it really was 31 other teams and the Raiders, because we didn't buy into that stuff. We did our own footwork. Good or bad. We get
on the phone. Next thing you know, we hop in a plane, renting a car, driving 100 miles out into the hinterlands of North Dakota to look at an offensive tackle. And that's what we used to do. Maybe, like I said, we're fossils and the electronic age is here, guys. And, maybe we're behind the times, but I would submit that also, too, is a part of our culture problem, is that we're in this tight box and we only see through a tight window. And I wish it was more open, because Lord knows, we need We need coaches in here. We need coordinators in here that know what they're doing. Anyway, I stayed long tonight because I was a good girl and I got my work done early.
I was going to say I was not rushing you out the door, because anytime I get you, anytime I get you beyond an hour and 10, because normally I get you for about an hour and 10 because you go over. I ain't saying a word because I'm enjoying this.
We are just talking about the good old days.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you have a formula that was successful, you take and adapt and make it modern what you can, but you also don't stop doing those things that made us a great team. And we were a great team because we found talent.
Yes.
We always seem, and Al used to know where the talent was buried on other people's rosters. That's the other part.
Yeah.
You know, Willie Brown's story is a great one where Denver benched him, right? And then when he, approached people, they were like, "Oh, don't mess with him. He's a troublemaker. He's this. He done lost a step, right?" That's the famous one. He done lost a step.
Yeah. He lost a step, just like Bill King said, "An old man Willie." I can describe old man Willie.
Exactly.
In Super Bowl 11, baby. There you go. I love it.
Al said to the legends, Raider legends told me this story. Al told them that the minute that he started getting phone calls from people who normally didn't talk to him, right? They don't have nothing to do with Al Davis, telling them, "Don't get Willie Brown." He knew right then it was people that didn't want him to have Willie Brown. Willie was always on this list. He wanted to draft him, and the Denver Broncos got to him first. Okay? And he said that's when he, went right out and did what he had to do and got Willie Brown. Okay? Because of all the phone calls he was getting telling him not to get Willie Brown. Rumors. He's a womanizer. He got a woman pregnant. That's what the Raider legends told me, with things that were said about Willie Brown. Sexual allegations. Okay? That's the kind of thing when you have a strong leader like that. Al said that was the first time he realized, wait a minute, why is everybody trying to keep me away? Because they wanted him. These guys from other teams, they wanted him. And so they were trying to keep Al away from him. He said he did whatever he had to do. He got Billy Brown, and the rest is history, right? Mm-hmm. And so many stories like that. The Lyle Alzado story. Lyle Alzado was actually ready to quit football. And
yeah.
Al talked him out of it. And did what he had to do. Got him in here. And so many stories like that. But again, we don't have Al anymore. No. We have to depend on a Telesco to do that now. And that's a hard adjustment for Raider fans, don't you think?
Peggy, if they would listen to us, they ain't
gonna listen to us. They gonna escort us out the building. Security.
They wouldn't even let us into the building. They would be my old command at SOCOM. I keep telling people, and I say this as a joke and jest, I said I was ushered out of my last tour in the military. I retired because I was ushered out from a particular place. And when I was ushered out and I got the chance to retire, and I did, that I joked, I said, if I ever go any 50 feet near there, they have guys with M16A2s on the top of the building saying, Oh, that ain't Jay coming into the building, is it?
Yeah, we go.
With the
They
trigger.
can't get in here.
Can't get in this, so that's why I
They
said
can't get in here. They gonna let us in.
you and I are not allowed into Henderson, honey. I'm sorry.
I know that. We're sitting up here, kind of reminisce about the old days, but also calling people to account. And
yes,
if we're gonna talk about, Telesco, I have the utmost confidence knows talent.
yeah.
I've been watching him since Indianapolis when he was getting. I'm like, where did the coach find all these good people? And that's what my dad said. Telesco, okay. I'm like, who? This little young guy, VP of player personnel. He wasn't even a GM in them days.
Mm-hmm.
And every place you go, Ohio State, Wisconsin, there's Telesco in the field, in the crowd. He knows talent. I'm telling people, we got the best guy to pick our quarterback for next year. We really do. I can't. Imagine Reggie McKenzie picking a quarterback, or even Al Davis in the last 10. Think about it. Mayon picking a quarterback. Doesn't it send shivers down your spine? I know it makes me shiver. We cannot. We are a franchise we're in such big trouble.
We are. And Peggy, before you go,
make mistakes.
Before you go, okay, because I'm gonna throw this up here to Armando. Okay. Because before you out the doors, we got about 3 minutes.
Yes, we do. God, definitely have to go.
Who do you think is going to be the starting quarterback this week?
It's got to be Ritter.
I think it's going to be Ritter too.
Not that it's going to help if that O-line ain't fixed.
Well, it'll help a little bit. It'll help a little bit.
He won't get rid of the ball the way. Minshew is very careless with the ball, but I trust him to know what to do with no time to throw.
True.
More than I trust Ritter and O'Connell. Ritter was sacked 4 times in 1 quarter. Reminded me of David Klingler. Oh, here I go telling my old war stories again. Remember David Klingler out of Houston, drafted by the Bengals? He was this phenom, right?
What about David Carr when he was with the Houston Texans?
Oh, I can't. That was such a nightmare. Yeah, somebody should have called them for child abuse, okay? But I'm talking about the game I happened to be watching one day, just on a Sunday, NBC, right? AFC.
That was
and Klingler got sacked by the Steelers 10 times before they put the poor thing out. 10 times.
Yeah.
In 2 quarters. They didn't even let him start the second half. I couldn't figure out for the life of me why the child was just standing there. Especially when you see the film from Houston, right? He actually could move. So why was he standing there? And I think you're going to see the same problem with Ritter. Ritter's problem is he don't read fast enough.
Well,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he's going to need to read faster with these guys coming at him. He got better as the game progressed. He didn't.
He still was sacked.
Yeah, but he got better as the game progressed.
And he found Bowers. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, and behold, a Bowers sighting in the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
Oh my God!
For a touchdown. Peggy, I love you. We gotta go.
We'll talk soon. And thank you everybody for coming out. And LVR Live, our O-line is as terrible as it looks. You need to make a film. Captain, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Gotta love every 2 weeks on the report card with Miss
Thanksgiving. Should be Thanksgiving by then. Okay.
Hey, take care, darling.
Bye.
Bye-bye, folks. We're going to be gone, and that's my cue to get us out of here. Take care. Thanks for being here. We'll see you in 2 weeks.